I want to reflect on what Daniel and Evelyn just presented to you by taking you to other parts of the country, not necessarily northern Uganda. As Daniel said, Uganda has endured a legacy of violence since independence and even before. And instead of recounting exactly what Evelyn said, which came across from all the different districts where the research was conducted, I decided to put it in a short documentary as my presentation. I would have recounted the same story, but I think it's important for you to hear from the survivors, the victims that Evelyn talked about. We did this focus group discussion in 5 different districts. We met about 30 youth and 30 adults in each district. We had about 5 different key informants interview, having in-depth discussion with individuals who had shared their experience in this regard. And as Evelyn said, many of them had experienced these violations firsthand, and they had gone through very different processes on how to deal with it, how to carry the baggage. And by the time they arrived, for those who decided to forgive, by the time they arrived at the decision to let go, they had endured an enormous suffering. And we found this to resonate quite well with those who experience it more directly. In Luwero, where we met a group of young people who did not directly suffer the violence, they found it more difficult to forgive. They were more bitter than their fathers, the mothers who had been brutalized during the war. We also found that even though you can find a group of people who are forgiven, sometimes they all forgive for very different reasons, and they expect very different outcomes from that process. There are also situations where someone could have forgiven, but their communities or neighbors or family members have not. And a case in point was in Luwero, where one of the very notorious member of the NRA, the National Resistance Army Movement, that is now the UPDF, or the Uganda People's Defense Forces, used to commit a lot of atrocities. And in one village, when he returned, he apologized. He asked for forgiveness, and the village forgave him. But the neighboring village organized and came and speared him at night and killed him. So there are also those kind of situations. So I don't want to preempt what will come in the documentary. Let me screen it, and then we can discuss afterwards. Thank you very much.